call to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Steve.
Present. Here.
Wolf. Yep. And they got Steve Skeets is not here. Robert Owens is not. Doug Tysted.
Here.
Jeff Spinks.
Here.
William Gutchalk.
Here.
Alan present here. Jaden Bailey absent. Secretary's report.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. On the agenda today is a variance request. So that is your only agenda item. If you were reading through your packet, however, staff didn't include a memo about the 2024 Comprehensive Plan annual review. It was just a rough timeline of when we anticipate bringing these items to you. So we do anticipate having a work session with you after your March 13th meeting, so it'll just be following your regular schedule. And then we hope to bring back for its formal hearing on the April meeting, and then it'll go to the Board of County Commissioners at the beginning of May, and then we'll do implementation of what we discussed. So just wanted to give you a heads up so you can plan accordingly if you want to be in attendance. So that's all.
That's it? Mm-hmm. We have no consent agendas, so we'll move directly to the regular agenda. We won't approve the minutes from last.
We'll approve the minutes at the next planning commission meeting.
I'm sorry?
We'll approve the minutes at the next planning commission.
Okay. All right. So,
Declarations.
pardon me?
The declarations, if any members.
Any declarations? No. No declarations noted.
Okay.
Now do we go to staff report on the
You still have to
agenda?
approve the agenda.
Yes,
It's
you
on
still
there.
have to approve the agenda.
You still have to approve the agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Also move.
We have a second? We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Agenda approved. Now we'll hear case number DEV 24-001, variance for Fairmont Fire District.
All right, good evening, gentlemen. The case before you tonight is case DEV 24001. This is a variance request from the Zoning and Subdivision Regulations of Article 5, Section 4.1, which states the minimum setback requirement for all buildings or structures of any nature shall be at least 105 feet back from the center line of all state or county roads. The property is located on the corner of 158th Street and Metro Avenue, also known as 16380 158th Street. This is a corner lot, which requires the minimum setback to be met on both road frontages. The request is to reduce the minimum setback from 105 feet from the center line of the road to 35 or 34 feet from the right-of-way line on Metro Avenue. In order to build a building addition to an existing structure, all other setback requirements would be met, which was verified through aerial views, and a site visit was conducted at the site. The planning staff's policy is that we do not make any recommendations or approvals of approval or disapproval. We just provide the analysis of the 5 statutory requirements. Your decision is based whether the request meets or does not meet each of those 5 statutory requirements. If it is determined that one of the 5 requirements are not met, then the request does not pass. The five requirements are identified on page 2 of the staff report. We have received a few phone calls from the public regarding this case, but none of them were either in favor or in opposition of the case. It was more informational basis as far as what the applicant was proposing to do at the site. The applicant is here to discuss their variance request further and to answer any questions you may have. With that being said, I'm subject to any questions that either of you may have.
Any questions from any of the commissioners or comments? at this
I'm
point?
assuming there's no plans to widen Metro in anywhere in the near future, is there?
So Public Works did review this as part of the review process. They did not indicate at that time that Metro Avenue would be widened, nor would this impact any site triangles or anything, as Josh has mentioned in his staff report.
Okay.
Do we know if there were any other designs considered, such as behind the building? Would that have created a problem if it were behind the existing structure?
I'm sure the applicant can talk a little bit more about that, but on a lot this size, there are other situations like the septic system and all that they have to account for. So I believe, yes, they tried to figure out a way to meet all their requirements, but this was the best option for what they were need the addition for.
And it is 105 feet from 158th Street?
It is, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
What's the width of the easement on that side?
The width of the
road easement?
for the utilities easement.
Yes. That, they want 35 foot from the easement in.
34 feet from the right-of-way line, which I want to say it is. Let me look here. I don't have that one on me.
Yeah, I'm not aware of like an easement outside of the right-of-way, but the right-of-way, I believe, on that part of Metro is 60 feet wide. It could be larger, but it's a minimum of 60 feet wide, which is compliant with our current requirements for right-of-ways, which goes back to Steve's question. I do not believe that there's any intentions to widen Metro, at least not in the near future, so.
Question I might have, and it may be better answered by participants here. How long do they anticipate that this need will be in place, this variance? In other words, it looks as though there's some anticipated need because of growth in the area before, and I'm saying their need before they would have to look at having a different facility.
Yeah, I think that would be a good question for the applicant.
Good enough?
There's no other questions or comments at this time. Would the parties like to address, anyone from the fire department like to address our concerns? Or
Good evening. I'm Tyler Rath, the Assistant Fire Chief of Fairmont Township Fire Department. Some of the questions that you were asking, how long do we plan on being in that facility? It's undetermined right now. We're looking at around at least 10 years before we feel like we need to get something maybe at a different location with a little bit bigger site plan.
Did you consider, other than going for a variance, did you consider, like I had asked, putting it on the back side of the building as opposed to beside?
We did. There's not enough room behind the building, and the septic system is currently behind the building right there, and it would be too close to the property line behind the building to put it behind the building.
Okay. Thank you.
do you know how far will you be off the center line of the road? How much of variance are you?
Center line,
54 feet.
54 feet.
54 foot off the center line.
Correct. That site where that addition is going, like I said in my narrative, is also where the building used to sit. The Glenwood Community Center used to sit on that site. We demolished that building in 2009. So there used to be a structure that sit in almost that exact spot. It was an older structure that sat next to the current fire station.
And how long did you just comment that you might, or before you may need to find another location?
Depends on growth, yes.
Yeah,
It's at least 10 years.
at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question of the planning staff? I mean, okay, it's an RR 2.5, correct? And yet it's not, the whole area looks like 1 acre or less. Are we, and I don't think it's going to go, but it does not appear to me that it's going to go back to an RR 2.5. Are we considering changing that in our land development plan to account, or is it, and I didn't review the land development plan, is it considered that we'll take this area out of 2.5 anytime soon?
I do not believe this was identified in the future land use map as higher density, so like 3 units per acre or anything like that. This area is still identified as rural residential 2.5 minimum acreage. I do not think at this time that there is any inclination to change that future land use designation. It's very rare that we do come across a site like this, but for historical purposes, at one point we did allow for 1 acre lots to happen in the county by right, and then we came back in with the 5 acre and 2.5 acre zoning, which is why you have some of these lots that are acre or less than an acre, because they were created during that time. Like I said, most of the time, though, we can usually make what the property owner is trying to do work. In this situation, however, it's difficult to meet, so that's why they are requesting the variance. However, I will say...
You do see my point, though, that there,
I do,
as you look at the clustering of buildings around here, are those all residences or mostly residences?
The majority of them are residents. I will say, though, the 105-foot setback applies to all zoning districts, not just RR 2.5 and higher.
And the others do, in fact, have the 105-foot setback. I mean, you
They
talked
do,
about
yes,
that for the other properties in the area, but they're mostly less than 1 acre, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to be updating our land use plan, should we take that into account?
I guess a better way to look at it is there are a significant number of lots in this area that would warrant looking at it. And you can definitely bring this up during the comprehensive plan review, but I mean, there's maybe 10 lots that this comes into play, and if we received this exact same scenario on all 10 of those lots, then I would be before you saying yes, that is something that we should definitely consider. But because this is the first one to my knowledge in this area, I would say maybe not at this time should we be looking to change the future land use designation or zoning designation.
Well, that then also goes to growth projections, where we think we're going to be growing in the southern portion, and this is Bonner. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're a township, but you're supporting primarily Bonner area, correct?
It's all Leavenworth County. It's all Fairmount Township.
I understand that.
Yes.
But I mean,
The Bonner addresses.
okay.
Yeah.
It's basically anything south of 2440 Highway in Fairmount Township is the area that this fire station serves.
Okay.
So we have another fire station within the city of Basehor that serves the concentrated population of Basehor. But this will help with the area and the residents that are south of 2440.
Right, which is a growth area. Okay, thank you. I'm not shooting darts. I'm just trying to get in my mind what we should be doing into the future.
Absolutely, I totally get that. Another thing, that has to be taken into consideration is the utilities. So once you get into those higher densities, we would have to make sure that there's actually utilities in that area to support it, which is why you typically see that future land use map having higher densities around the cities, because the anticipation of the growth of their utilities would support those densities, whereas out here, maybe it's not quite there.
Okay.
One more question. Say the 10-year plan, probably with this, what if you're denied this variance? What's going to happen at that point?
Well, we'd have to look at other options. We haven't explored a bunch of other options right now because we're waiting for this variance to see if it goes through or not. So we'd have to explore any other options, which, like I said in my narrative, would be more of a burden on our current budget and our potential taxes that we have on Fairmont Township.
Now, you're probably anticipating quite a bit of growth in that area down there with DeSoto and Panasonic plant and so forth.
You guys are well aware of the neighborhoods in like 166 and Evans that have been approved for development and stuff like that. I'm sure you've seen the plans of all the new neighborhoods in that area.
Well, I'm from Baser, so I can attest to that. You guys are professional. You're
Thank you.
very, very cooperative, very good fire department.
We want to be able to continue to serve the southern part of Fairmont Township with that same professional and quick response. So the station here really cuts down our response times from Baser to that area by a lot.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I call for a motion?
Mr.
We need
Chairman,
to hear from individuals first.
Yep,
I
the
think.
public.
I'm sorry.
It's an open
Four
hearing.
people
It's
for
an
or
open-
against.
Or public hearing.
It would be appropriate at this time to formally open the public hearing.
Okay. Public hearing is open. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this request? Seeing none, public portion of the meeting is closed. Now I can call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the case DEV 24-001 for a variance for the Fairmont Fire District be approved as shown by the staff.
Thank you.
I'll second. And this is the last, it does
This
not
is
go
the
to the
final.
commissioners, correct? Our decision tonight is the final decision.
Correct.
That is correct.
We have a motion and a second.
If I may, before we vote, I'd just like to clarify on the motion. Are you finding that all of the conditions, the 5 conditions, have been met based on the staff report? I think that's what I heard, but I want to make sure.
That is correct. And let me amend my motion then to say that I recommend approval based on the factors to be considered and the responses provided by the staff and the Fairmont Township Fire Department.
I'll accept the change.
Any other question or comment from the commissioners? If not, we'll take a vote. Steve Rosenthal,
Yes.
Wolf Schmidt, yes. William Gottschalk,
Yes.
do I vote on this?
You are the tiebreaker in this instance,
Okay.
so you do not need to vote.
Doug Tysted
Yes.
and Jeff Spinks.
Yes.
Unanimous vote. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so moved.
Second.
Or fifth. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.